Right, today's project is a short video on turning a bird's mouth bowl, which is going to be quite an extreme one, with it hollowed out quite significantly. So it's just from an offcut. I think it's probably beech from the garden, which is quite dry and hard, about sort of 4 inches long and about 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter. Just be gripped on step drive and the live drive to start with. So just using a 3/8 inch bowl gouge, just producing some shape to the outside of the bowl and forming a tenon. So after the initial shaping, I can see that I've got some of the natural edge still left, which is fine. The tenon on the bottom may not be a full circle, but as long as I get enough of it tied it up with a parting tool in a second, it'll be enough for the grip. A bit of refining of the shape with the spindle gouge and a quick scrape with a negative rake scraper just to get the worst off, and then onto sanding. And then an application of cellulose sanding sealer and some Hampshire Sheen high gloss wax.
Okay, I'm going to reverse it now, put it in the chuck. I've only got a partially formed foot, but that's good enough for the grip. I'll line that up between jaws 1 and 2 in case I need to reset it.
So I can start the hollowing with a 3/8 bowl gouge, just taking some gentle cuts to start with, and then hollow it out like a normal bowl. But progressively as you go in, of course, you start cutting fresh air. Good bevel contact is important even on a small bowl like this, so as you start your cut from the outside inwards, you do need to move the tool handle over to the far right so that your bevel does actually rub properly. Bit of high-tech depth measurement here. Probably should have used something a bit more refined than mid-digit, but it was good enough to give me a rough idea as to where I was. Every now and again I'm doing some pull cuts from the inside upwards, a shear cut, and that's fine and safe to do as long as you remember where your wings are, and it saves you trying to get around the corner with a top to bottom cut. As the sides of the bowl get opened out, you need to be even more careful with tool control. As you can see here, I've got the handle right over on the right hand side. I've actually moved the headstock around to make it a bit easier for me to do that move, but you need to get the bevel rubbing, otherwise you will get a catch and you'll break those wings. I'm turning it down to about 3mm thick, not super thin, but thin enough that it would fall apart if you weren't careful. In fact, you can see there, you can see the inside of the bowl through the outside, so to speak, because of the wings that are appearing. Although I'd got a really good finish with the bowl gouge, I felt the bottom needed to be blended in a little with the negative rake scraper, which is actually producing some modestly good shavings. and then some sanding using the 35mm small arbor to go through the grits and get it nice and smooth. I was having a bit of difficulty just getting a really good finish with the power sander on the bottom, so I used my homemade sanding stick, which has got the ability to have the sandpaper, grit paper on the sides and on the bottom. That just helped me do a little bit of final blending in that I was struggling to do with the electric sander. And then my usual finish, a bit of Yorkshire grit just to buff it up after I put some cellulose sanding sealer on, and then after that a bit of Hampshire Sheen high gloss wax, and then parted off with the final little nub at the bottom, sanded off by hand after it had been parted.